The leadership of the All Progressives Congress APC is likely to decide the criteria for who becomes the next Speaker of the House of Representatives within the next few days, with at least 7 top contenders for the top job. The members-elect who want to succeed Femi Gbajabiamila are Yusuf Gadri, a former Speaker of Plateau House of Assembly, and Ahmed Wase, the incumbent Deputy Speaker of the House and 5-time lawmaker in the National Assembly. Other contenders include Tunji Olawi, the current chairman of the House Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness, Aliyu Betara, chairman of the House Committee on Appropriation, and Benjamin Kalu, the spokesperson of the House. Those considered underdogs in the speakership race are Tajuddin Abbas and Miriam Onoha. The APC seeks to intervene so as to reduce competition among members and produce a strong speaker for the House. All right, analyst Frank Tietie is here to help us analyze the issue. Frank Tietie, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Okay, now the APC is now deciding to use internal politics, to intervene so as to rescue the party from crisis. Where does this put the criteria, the expectations like integrity, competence, and of course, experience?
Oh, well, if you mention those words, it's easy for the APC to locate a particular member who has shown a lot of credibility and has a history of all of these qualities, as you mentioned. Ahmed Wase stands very tall in that regard. But you see, before you locate and situate a particular individual, because Ahmed Wase, as we speak, is the deputy speaker at the moment, is the most experienced. It will be his 5th time in the 5th term in the National Assembly in the 4th Republic, and he's chaired several committees until the moment, at this moment, that he's Deputy Speaker, and he has enjoyed the reputation of having been a loyal party man, supportive of the President-elect, and he's also in a position where he can claim to have supported Honorable Gbajabiamila to stabilize the House of Representatives. But that's not enough. I think if you need to locate the geopolitics of Nigeria, in the sense that it's based on balancing, it's based on equity, it is based on the principle of federal character. So when you approach the speakership from that end, which I think the APC is in a comfortable position to determine, because it has not only produced the presidency, it is important that for it to successfully drive its party agenda together with the campaign promises of the president-elect, it has to ensure that it gets a stable House of Representatives. And in that regard, you now find that some geopolitical regions have already been, cancelled, that I would say, in the race for the speakership. First, that of Southwest that produced the president, Northeast vice president, and then when you also look at the other parties, the other geopolitical zones, South-South, which is obviously not interested in the House of Representatives speakership, but is very, very ambitious, hoping that it will move from deputy speaker to Senate president. So it leaves only the North Central, the Northwest, and the Southeast. Southeast is out of it because it is not an APC it's not predominantly APC. Then when you now move to the contention between the North Central and the Northeast, the Northwest, you find that it's obviously a North Central affair for the APC in the interest of geopolitical balancing, because the Northwest has consistently for a long time produced the speaker of this country, beginning from the infamous Alisu Buhari through to Aminu Masari to Aminu Tambuwal, and so it's just for political balancing, it's a North Central affair. And when you come to North Central, because of the rules of the House that places ranking a ranking member above all others, meaning Wase has the responsibility of the experience and then and being deputy speaker as we speak.
Barrister Frank Tietie, we cannot rule out any geopolitical zone. I quite disagree with you when you say the Southeast, the APC is not quite dominant there. There are 5 states in the Southeast, let's not forget. APC has 2, speaking of Imo and Ebonyi State. The PDP, that used to be the PDP zone, but right now they only have 1 state. Looking ahead to May 29, because the Labour Party now has Abia State, and of course, what's the other state? Anambra is for ABGA. So
you know, the interesting thing about it is that, as a matter of fact, as a matter of reality, we know that the Labour Party has swept the Southeast. And it is not necessary. You see,
at the presidential level.
No.
It's a different.
We're not. We're dealing with speakership, and this is a national position. The reason why it's easy for APC to decide, and and then railroad and then locate the personality of Ahmed Wase to save it from this debacle is easy. The reason is that you need a national figure that appeals to all the other zones. So if, for example, the Southeast were to be given a chance for fairness, whereas as a matter of control of the House, the Southeast representatives do not count. Whereas we're talking about in a democracy, what I mean, I'm talking about numbers, in terms of the numbers. So popularity and dominance of the House matters, because the party will not take the risk of allowing a figure that has had all of these qualities that have been mentioned in the person of Ahmed Wase to be traded in for when especially it is the supposed turn of the North Central.
Okay, if you're talking about numbers, we should even look away from the APC, because even the opposition already has 182 seats, which is one over the benchmark 181 necessary for electing a speaker. So what about, have you also considered the possibility of coming together to form an alliance?
That's an interesting dimension, because when you say opposition, it looks as if it's one party. We're talking about
not just
the
one party.
conglomeration of all the other parties, which is very unlikely, and as a result of the strange bedfellows that constitute the other party. However, we are you see, the importance here is the APC itself, that now has a presidency, that has made promises to Nigerians that it will deliver certain things. And to be honest with you, when you consider the House of Representatives as the most potent, as the most reflective of direct representation of the Nigerian people, with an APC currently in majority, it is important that it decides it in a manner and with a personality that can easily appeal to the other parties. Now, you see, when you have experience as a ranking member, not in one term, not the second term, I appreciate, because if you look at the rules of the House, they make it mandatory that you must be a ranking member. Now, look at it now that you are seeing a ranking member for not one, not two, not three, but 4 terms, and then ultimately 5th term. You can see that that kind of personality has an appeal, a national appeal with all our legislators, together with the reflection that it is given an ethno-geographic balance when it comes to the North Central. So it is in the interest of the APC, it is in the interest of the North Central, that the most qualified among them, who is Ahmed Wase, in terms of records, in terms of ranking experience, in terms of appeal to the national appeal, they should put him forward so that they can easily take that position, not necessarily because they want a rubber stamp House of Representatives, but to have a personality that is principled. Then it can, as a party, not have an excuse of not driving its agenda of giving a better governance than the Buhari-led administration.
While we wait for the APC to decide as a party, because we do know the role the parties play in terms of deciding the leadership of the National Assembly, it's not synonymous to the ruling All Progressives Congress. During the time of the PDP, it was the same thing. But as it stands right now, one thing that is quite unique going into this 10th Assembly is the fact that we're going to see a very colorful, especially House of Representatives. The opposition parties now, as it stands, they have more numbers compared to the APC, and like Tolu had mentioned earlier, they have the numbers to push for their own speaker. So what should the APC be doing right now, especially looking at the numbers of the opposition, to ensure that at least the interest of the governing party is secured with regards to, the speakership? The
APC should first of all settle for its most popular candidate. First, that has the reach to other parties. Now, the good thing for it is that we've had a history of a National Assembly, apart from what happened in the Senate in 2015. We have a National Assembly that has a constitutional convention of allowing the party in majority to determine its leadership. That it's for many good reasons. Now, in that case, it is easy to secure, stretching a hand over the eye to the other parties. It's easy to secure a few members joining the more popular candidate. And the support for Awase comes on the ground of not only experience, but in terms of equity. When you consider that it is the turn of a region that has not produced the speaker in this entire Fourth Republic. And to think that, you know, the personality of Ahmed Wase is now deputy speaker, and he has that appeal, it will be easy, I would say, for the APC to easily garner the votes from the other political parties.
Mr. Frank,
yes.
Well, it's beginning to look like I'm being tempted to call you a spokesperson for Wase.
Yes, indeed.
but,
the reason
that's on a light mood. That's on a light mood.
Yes.
But then you mentioned rubber stamping earlier. And you still believe that that if the APC is able to still install a speaker, there wouldn't be rubber stamping?
No, because of, you know, I take that as a compliment, because the truth is that having watched Wase for a long time, and having seen, I credit him with some measure of being a principled person for the number of times, whether he spoke on the floor of the House or he presided as over the affairs of the House of Representatives. Now, the idea is this. Wase should reflect that principle stance whenever it is necessary. And again, we don't want to have a party that in the APC that is currently going to that has currently won the presidency to give any form of excuses why it could not drive its laudable programs, whether in reforms of the police in order to ensure that there is security, or in ensuring probity in governance, or ensuring that the dividends of democracy are spread across the entire country. And the basic problem we've had at this country, which is that of unity. We don't want a situation where there would be that reflection of any form of nepotism or any form of exclusion being complained by any group. So we looked at these pedigrees, and then we say, okay, the North Central at this time should be the better position to produce the House of Representatives Speaker. It is in the interest of the APC, and then it is in the larger interest of Nigeria if it reflects that kind of geopolitical balance.
Beyond Wase, yes, you've talked about the fact that his experience is a 5-time lawmaker and all of that. He's not the only one who's vying for that office. Let's pull up that graphics right now that shows all 7 of them right there. Let's not forget we do have Tunji Olawuyi, who is the current chairman of the House Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness.
There's also Gaji as well.
Yeah. Not forgetting Benjamin Kalu, the spokesperson of the House as it stands right now. And even there's a woman, Miriam Onuoha. Let's talk about the chances of this other 6 people, because you've actually heaped so much on
Wase.
You know, I will still stay on the North Central. You know, Gaji comes from the North Central. But you see, when you put him in, you know, when you compare, when you just oppose him with Wase, he still needs a bit more time, and you think that it would be a very tough sell for the APC. However, this would have been a fair time, a good time for the Southeast, and to think that the Southeast is presenting a woman, you know. So, but for you know, the fact that, as a matter of fact, and the figures with the demographics don't support an APC that will command the, you know, the kind of the base that the Southeast would give to it if it eventually produces speaker. Let me, you know, emphasize this: the stability you saw under Aminu Tambuwa, under together with Masari, and then later on with the fellow from the Southeast, Northeast, Dogara, and then ultimately in Bajabiamala. Those are necessary stability that you need, compared to the topsy-turvydom you had either with Patricia Ete or with Salisu Buhari. The party that wants to succeed, a party that wants to shake off, you know, the toga of the baggage of having dealt with problems intractably, must ensure that it is stable in that level of lawmaking that reflects a national appeal. It's very, very important, and that's what stands against the Southeast candidate. If
Benjamin Kalu is the current Speaker of the House.
No,
sorry, current spokesperson of the House. Why are you ruling him out?
I don't rule Benjamin Kalu out. It's just a matter.
Talk to us about his chances.
I doubt if he has the chances, but considering him as a personality, he's a fantastic individual. He has done his job very well. Again, what stands, the reason why I had eliminated those representatives from the Southeast is that it's the texture, the coloration of the region in terms of the election, the national election. It hasn't had that base that can support a political party bringing one member from the Southeast to represent it as the speaker. I think it might be too much of a gamble for the party to take.
Right.
So that leaves me wondering if you want to give any chances to Tajo Abbas.
No, it doesn't support the geopolitical balancing of Nigeria. It's not it actually directly violates Section 14 of the Constitution. The composition of a federal government must reflect federal character. You already have a president that is from Southwest. You have a vice president from Northeast. You have a South-South that is not interested at all in producing a speaker, that you cannot be thinking of coming from these zones and also becoming speaker. So that's why I didn't mince words in locating that this is a North Central affair.
What about the woman, the only woman there?
I've spoken about her. She would have had a very fair chance. The only challenge is that, and that would have been very good, because coming from the Southeast and then being a woman would have been a fair reflection, a very beautiful collection.
You keep saying would have,
yes,
like it's not
because
even a
the restriction.
This is a second time a member. This is not her first time.
The restriction is the geopolitical zone. Don't forget there are other positions for this geopolitical balancing, and that's when you talk about deputy speaker, for example, deputy senate president. You need, but the personality of the speaker, who in the succession to the presidency, in the case where there is no president, where there is no vice president, where there is no president, the speaker automatically becomes the leader of this country. So these things matter a lot when you talk about federal character and the federal leadership of this country, to give a sense of belonging and to combat the ill feelings of that we don't have unity. Don't forget, unity is the foundation of this Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Good place
Thank you
to
very
drop
much,
the anchor tonight.
Barrister Frank Tietie. We must appreciate your presence on the show tonight.
We look forward to what the APC will do, and of course, who eventually emerges the speaker and even the president of the 10th Senate.